Let's take our time with this one. So, rumours have it that West Ham have agreed personal terms with 24-year-old Al Ittihad forward Jota ahead of a potential transfer. Now, according to reports in Saudi Arabia, Jota's future has been the talk of the town. It really has since he joined the Saudi Pro League. Multiple clubs across Europe have paid a bit of keen interest in the 24-year-old winger, and it seems that West Ham could be the next destination. Jota did prove himself in Scotland at the top flight with Celtic. The Portuguese winger won numerous trophies in the short stint at the club, and he had an exceptional season last time out, and that resulted in a lot of interest across Europe. And while loads of clubs in Europe were keen to sign him, well, loads, within reason, the 24-year-old decided to join the Saudi Pro League, the football revolution in the Middle East, and they wanted him in their ranks for a sizable sum. They signed him for around about 25 million quid, Celtic making a massive profit on the player, and wages were expected to be around £200,000 a week. The player was doubling and then doubling again and then doubling again and then doubling again. I mean, honestly, I believe he was on around about £25,000-30,000 when he was at Celtic. Probably not even if that. So the deal for him was a no-brainer. It really was. But the move hasn't turned out as planned. He's failed to adjust to life in the Saudi league, and he's only had limited first-team minutes so far because they left him out of the league squad. And Jota is massively frustrated and seeks a massive return back to Europe. He's been linked to loads of clubs, again, within reason. And one of those clubs that supposedly are interested in him is our beloved West Ham. Now, what do I think of it? Now, I am Anton, who does this channel, and I am not a professional scout. I am not a professional coach. I do, however, feel like sometimes you do see enough of a player to make a judgment on them. So let me give you a little bit of the backstory. I live in Scotland, as you know, and I don't massively watch the Scottish Premier League. It's a bit naivety from me because I've always supported West Ham. I've never paid attention to any other league massively. But when you do a channel like this, it makes you see other games differently. So, because I live in Scotland and I have many friends that are Celtic fans over the years, and Rangers fans and other teams fans, over the years, whenever you hear their best player at the time, you start to pay a little bit of interest. We've had players come and go, and at Celtic, you've had players like Wanyama make it through the ranks. Southampton, Tottenham, rest of history. Van Dijk, Celtic, Southampton, and Liverpool. Just to name a couple, right? Just to name a couple. So then you've got Jota, right? What do I think of Jota? Well, I'll put it here. Jota is by far not a replacement for Benrahma. Now, he is on paper a replacement for Benrahma, but he is not, in my opinion, the ideal replacement for Benrahma. The problem with a Jota type player is as follows. If you look at the player on paper, like Benrahma, if you look at Benrahma's stats, goals and assists, goal contributions, then you would honestly think you're signing a really, really top-notch player. Now, I'm not trying to deny that Benrahma is not a top-notch player. Thank you very much for the memories, Benny. But we all know, as West Ham fans, what he doesn't bring to the rest of his game and the frustrations that he brings. This is Jota. This is Jota. Jota struggled to impact Benfica's team. He struggled to make that transition into the first team. He was getting not regular minutes. There was a difference between the coach. One of the main reasons why is the coach at Benfica at the time struggled with his flamboyancy, his creativity, and sometimes giving the ball away because he is extremely a clever footballer. He's also a player you need to be careful about judging solely on YouTube videos. And I'm saying this from a place of probably people could say you contradict yourself, Anton, because 9 times out of 10 you base your opinion on him. So, for example, if we're talking about Ibrahim Osman, then what have I ever seen of him? Well, I've not. What's the difference? Well, he's 19. Does he look like he's got a little bit of something about him? Yeah. Is there less of a risk with him? Possibly. Why? Age on his side. He looks stronger. He hasn't made the dramatic impact that what Jota has made and did make at Celtic. But what we also have to remember is that Jota did go missing in several of Celtic games. So even though he is extremely skillful and even though he scored really important goals for Celtic and some of them were crackers, it doesn't mean we've got the all-round picture here. It doesn't mean we've got the all-round player. Now, from my due diligence, from my little brief encounters of watching him play for Celtic, never in any of my watching days of watching them play, seeing him score the cracking goals, seeing his ability sometimes on the ball, did I ever think I would want him at West Ham. I'm just holding my hand up and saying it. And if he does come to West Ham, I'll back him 100%, as you do. Do I think it's the right deal for West Ham? No, I don't. I dramatically don't. I don't see this as an upgrade at all on Ben Rama. But then people will say to me, how can you see Osman as an upgrade? Well, it's more of a risk, yeah, but it meets the criteria of what the club are trying to achieve. The young, kind of unheard of talent. There's so many risks when you look at a deal like Jota. He's paying. He's earning £200,000 a week, so he can start the negotiations from a higher standard. And if you think about only what a year ago, not even, he was earning approximately. Don't quote me exactly. No more than 30K a week. The player's not going to want to take that drop, but he can, within reason, negotiate a very good weekly wage to play at a club. Whether it comes down to a permanent deal or a loan deal, either way, he can walk out with a lot of money from this deal. But he's obviously struggling to make the impact. And listen, equally though, going to the Saudi league is a bit of a gamble. You can, generational wealth, and for him in particular, it would be generational wealth. And even if he gets let go from his contract, depending on how he gets let go, he'll have some form of generational wealth from the time that he's been there. He wasn't included in their league side, their league squad. So on paper and on YouTube clips, Jota looks the business. But we know at West Ham you need more than just that. And that's my concern. The frustrations, the times when you're frustrated with Ben Rama, you will be frustrated with Jota. It will be the exact frustrations. He does not track back. He does not track back. Now, I didn't watch him week in and week out at Celtic. I paid attention when he scored a really good goal. And then I paid attention when he assisted a good goal. And then everyone would shout loud when he scored against Rangers because that's the rivalry in Scotland. And I would watch him then a little bit more. And never again, like I said, would I look at him and go, oh, there's a player I'd take a bit of a risk on. There's a player I think West Ham would suit, that he would suit West Ham. There are other players in the Scottish League that I do sit there and I go, okay, yeah, I see the potential there. I see the potential there. I think he is a romantic luxury player for a team that has no need for him to contribute elsewhere in the team. I sound like I'm destroying the player, but remember, I'm little old Anton sitting in this room here giving you a little bit of content. He doesn't fill me with a huge amount of excitement. It's my opinion, obviously, and you're more entitled to your opinion. But I feel like I'm not going to sit back and just say I'm really excited about this one. I would be more excited about the unheard of Osman. I really would, because I would feel like West Ham have done their due diligence and really seen if there is a capability of this player making a step up to the occasion. And I really don't see Jota being that guy. But I tell you what, I would love nothing more if West Ham signed him for him to prove me wrong. But I genuinely just can't see it. Again, be mindful of the fact that when you look and watch him on his highlight reels, like you'll get a fantastic abundance of goals, a fantastic abundance of assists, but he struggled to get in the Benfica side. He really, really struggled to get in the Benfica side. He played a total of 34 games with 2 goals and 3 assists. He went to Celtic and he played 83 times, scoring 28 goals and 26 assists. So I'm not disrespecting the Scottish League. I'm really not. But everyone knows the standards are definitely a bit lower. Equally, though, the standard in the Danish league, the Norwegian league, all of them are a bit lower. So obviously, it's about weighing up those situations. I think what worked for Jota was he was giving the absolute freedom to go and have fun and play. And Celtic didn't need to rely on the rest of the attributes that West Ham squad and players need. Even Paqueta throws himself at the ball to win it back. Even Kudos throws himself at the ball to win it back. Even Bowen throws himself in the way to win the ball back. I don't see this in Jota. I think he's a little bit weak. And again, to just not drift around the whole highlights reels that we see. This is a concern for me. Doesn't mean I'm right. It does not mean I am right. I mean, he signed for Celtic on loan initially, so it wasn't even a permanent deal at the time. Benfica were looking to make as much money as they possibly can. He hit the ground running in his first season at Celtic. Bang, they signed him for £6.5 million, and then sold him on for a profit of 20 odd million pounds. So it's 25 million pounds, I think they sold him for. He won an abundance, like I said, of trophies. But I just think I would be really concerned. I'd tread carefully when it came to Jota, and I would happily look elsewhere than bringing Jota in from Al Ittihad. We've got the complications, of course. We have the complications of the deal because there's tax situations there. There are potential issues of trying to bring Jota to the club. And I really would prefer West Ham to avoid that and move on to other targets. In actual fact, I really would accept West Ham not buying Jota or bringing Jota on loan at all, even if it meant we lost a player and we had a space in the squad. Sounds like I'm really taking apart the player individually, but I think there's something not necessarily West Hammy about him. And I think that we would get the same disappointment we have with Benrahma, but the expectations would be higher because we would be expecting the flamboyant Celtic player, but that flamboyant Celtic player still had issues in his game. He was just flamboyant and excited to be on the ball and was told one job, which was attack, because in that league, with all due respect, at the level of the ability that Jota's got, you can, no disrespect if you watch the Scottish League, but you can do that. You can do that. So there's my 2 pence when it comes to Jota. Is the deal close? I don't know. Is it a good deal if West Ham get him? In my opinion, no. Put your comments in. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment. Hit the bell notification. Want to be notified when our next shows go live. Take it easy, and of course, come on, your hands.